Mr. Styles,
Yes, sir.
how you doing today?
Can't complain.
Good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Love.
Right. See you doing like what's going on up here. You know,
Thank you.
see a lot of counseling happening. That's dope.
Yeah, we working, just spreading the information.
Trying to keep everybody right.
That's it. Working on it.
So, what's the plans for Pharmacy for Life? You gonna expand?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
More stores?
More stores. Our e-commerce has been up for a few years doing what we do, but definitely looking to do some more brick and mortars.
Gonna keep it, or you gonna sell once it gets to a certain?
I got to discuss that with my partners.
Got you.
You
got
know?
you. Well, my show is called Preserving the Culture.
All right.
It revolves around the culture of hip hop.
All right.
Where did all of this start for you? Lay some foundation. I know I've been watching a lot of the podcasts and stuff you've been on and spoke about tons of stuff. Where did the music all kind of start? Like, I know you kind of had some issues when you were younger, you know, getting in trouble and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the music started just from the love of my love of music. You know, that was a career I knew I wanted to be in since pretty much a youth. Being from Yonkers, no one was ever on in Yonkers, rap-wise. You always hear the 5 boroughs shouted out. You always hear Mount Vernon shouted out. You always, you know, God bless Heavy D. You always hear Brand New being shouted out, New Rochelle. So just Yonkers is right next door to the Bronx. So since the birth of hip hop, pretty much, from my knowledge of it to it reaching my world, it was just something I always wanted to do.
So how old would you say you were when you wrote your first song?
My first rhyme probably was around, I want to say
15,
9 or 10.
9 or 10.
Yeah,
okay.
somewhere like that.
Okay, you remember it?
Hell no.
Hell no. I always ask people that.
Nah, not at all.
And then from there, what were your influences musically? Just what was going on in Yonkers?
Yeah, I mean, what was going on in Yonkers in the game, you know, just.
Who at that point do you remember being an influence?
Just the whole culture from Beat Street. I know I was influenced heavy since the movie Beat Street. The Message was I would say the first song that inspired me to really understand, not even fully understand because I was too young right there.
To really understand.
Yeah. But I know hearing the message and seeing what happened made the art make sense to me.
Broken glass everywhere. People on the stage, you know they just don't care. I can't take the smell, can't take the noise. Got no money to move out, I guess I got no choice.
From watching B Street, and then, you know, of course, Run DMC, LL Cool J.
You used to tag and all of that stuff too?
Definitely. I've done almost everything hip hop.
Was your tag Styles back then?
No, my name was Davey D back then.
Davey D?
Yeah, so you definitely wasn't Styles. Styles didn't come to. Styles came by way of high school. Styles is actually my real last name.
Okay.
Yeah, so everyone in high school just called me Styles. Yeah, you know, in the neighborhood, everybody was just calling me Styles.
Was there a lot of like ciphers and stuff in high school when you were?
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm from that era. I'm 48 years old, so I grew up on ciphers.
Who do you remember being in a cipher with back then that stands out in memory? Anybody?
She, Kiss, X.
Okay.
You
Besides them, anybody that you think is like, man, I remember this dude.
I've ciphered with Mace. I've ciphered with Children of the Corn before. I've ciphered with McGruff, Big L.
All the heavyweights.
Yeah, I've been in a few of them.
So now you said you did everything hip hop and break dance?
Yeah.
Tag?
Yeah.
Okay. Still break dance?
Nah.
Okay. So tell me more now about when you were coming up and just what you remember. I try to get a grasp of what people remember when they were coming up and what was influential. Like you said, the game
Life
itself.
was influential. People, like I'm from the era where life was influential. I came up during obviously 1986 and 85, around the years crack came out. I've been outside pretty much my whole life, so I've been influenced by music, of course. I've been influenced by drug dealers. I've been influenced by just pretty much the fast life and knowing that I wanted nice shit and knowing that I wanted to really, you know, live in a world where I had control over most things. So coming up for me, it was, especially in Yonkers at the time, I would say it was rough, but it was beautiful at the same time. It's a combination of, everything was more authentic back then, I would say. There were no, there were no, you know, I come from an era where you didn't, cell phones didn't come till I was a teenager. I come from an era where we would knock on your homeboy's door or yell out his window. I come from an era of manhunt, slap boxing, ciphers, break at night,
all that,
stealing,
all that,
fighting. You know, that's the era I come from. So what's influential is really wanting to make a new way. There wasn't as much opportunities back then as there are now. Like there were that many ways of making money as much as there are now. Like, you know what I mean? So life influenced you, and people of power and position and people who had financial freedom were my influences.
When would you say your turning point was when you said, all right, I got to start doing better for myself?
In my teens, I would say. I didn't always follow through though, but I knew from early. My mom's from South Africa, so that's also one of my biggest influences. Is seeing how much my mom achieved with coming to this country and where she got in life as far as education and working. So I always had in my mind that I was gonna make it. Like, you know what I mean? I come from blood that
had no choice but to make it.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? So for me, it was pretty much.
Have you ever been back to South Africa to see where your mother was from?
Yes, I have.
What was that like?
Incredible.
Yeah.
One of my most incredible life experiences ever, just to see that many black, brown faces and brothers and sisters, and just everywhere you go is pretty amazing.
Different feeling
pretty
altogether.
Awesome, yeah. It's kind of a hard thing to describe. It's just really beautiful.
A feeling, yeah.
Yeah, it's just beautiful and amazing.
Is that something you do?
And to feel at home at some place you've never been, it's crazy. To get there and feel like you're home and you're amongst your people, and to be embraced, to be loved on, be treated nice, it was just really amazing.
Do you constantly go back and forth, or?
No, I'm going back though. I'm going back pretty soon, actually.
Okay. So now, the Locks formed in high school?
Yeah.
So when did the Warlocks form? Same, was that high school?
Before we were the Locks, we were the Warlocks. Before we were the Warlocks, we were the Bomb Squad. And that was all formed in high school. Cypher environment, beatboxing, banging on tables.
Who used to bang and who used to do the beatbox?
Sheik. Sheik had an ill beatbox.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was just our love of the art, our love of the culture, our love of everything that's going on. And pretty much that was it for us. We knew what we wanted to do. We knew where we wanted to go.
How many albums in are you now?
I have no idea. I think somewhere in the solo tip, professional albums, maybe around 17. Mixtapes, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Group albums, about 4 or 5.
I keep hearing about you saying you're not doing any more solo music.
Nah, solo, this will be my next album, will be my last solo album. I still do collaborate. I even have probably the most collaboration albums. I got an album with Have, I got an album with Talib, I got an album with Spitter, I got an album with Currency, I got an album with East. I have a few more collabs to do. So I'm just gonna sign out as a soloist and stay doing collabs and Locks albums. And I'm pretty cool with that.
So you have a few collabs lined up already, or?
I got 1 or 2 in mind.
Okay. And Locks albums?
Definitely.
I was listening to the song Today's America, is it?
I'm bad with titles. I make a lot of music.
It was like, my mama don't call like she used to.
Oh yeah.
That's a deep song. I listened to it and like, where were you coming from when you wrote that? Like,
same place I come every time, the gut.
Oh Lord, why I lose so much when I'm a winner? Demons done got my soul, made me a sinner. Clothes don't fit no more, I'm getting thinner.
Come from the gut. Like, I don't, not to put it in a braggadocious way, but I don't write rhymes. I kind of just make rhymes. So everything just really comes from the gut. Just smoke, sit in a dark room and let it happen. Pretty much.
Never write?
No.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, well.
But you kind of jot your thoughts here and there.
No, right? I don't jot anything.
No
one's ever seen me write a rhyme ever. In the history of being here, I can't write a rhyme. So I'm not coming from a braggadocious point, because it's, as a youth, I always had a offbeat, on beat. I was always hustling. I always had a job, so it was no time to write the rhyme. So the best thing I could do was kind of remember them, and then I could never really read my rhyme back off the paper. Like, I would always mess the melody up, so it was just easier for me to kind of memorize it. I don't think writing a rhyme or not writing a rhyme makes you a better artist either way. I think it's just a formula that some people use, and for me it just works. I actually wish I could write rhymes sometimes.
Why?
Because I can't. So when you can't do something,
you want to do it.
You often want to do
Naturally.
it, like, you know what I mean?
Naturally.
And so I'm really a feeling person and a kind of work on the spot sort of person. So I probably, if I wrote rhymes, I would, I don't know. I would, it just seems interesting to fucking write a rhyme to me. Like, you know what I mean? It's something that I would love to do, but I just don't.
I always ask people about that said they had a relationship with Bad Boy about Daddy's house.
Yeah.
I had a friend that used to work there. What would you say your temperament was back when you were at Daddy's house?
Oh, my temperament back then was hungry, street, educated, fierce, and rebel.
You remember a guy named Cornbread?
I remember Cornbread. That's your homie?
Yeah.
See, Cornbread will say I'm cool. Somebody else may say I'm not. Or he may say I'm cool with him, but I don't. He probably tell you.
He just used to say it just used to be so much different shit going on.
Yeah.
You look back and be like, you know what? Maybe I could have did something else, or maybe.
I don't look at the past like that. I don't look back at the past going, maybe I could have did something else. When I look back at the past, I appreciate the journey that I'm on. So even the things I didn't like, even my bad times, led up to me being who I am today. So I don't really reflect on the past with it in a negative aspect, or like the past is the past. It's part of who makes you who you are in the present and where you're going in the future. So I tend to look at the past as part of the journey.
What do you think about the culture right now?
I love the culture. It's not what it
Used to be.
It's not what it used to be, but how can you expect it with technology being so advanced? I'm happy that this many young people can make this much money though.
Yes.
And you know, they're able with when an artist nowadays makes it, he has the opportunity to open a door for not only other artists, but for his homeboys or homegirls to get in a position of power and do other things too. That artist is taking a few people from the neighborhood, hitting the road. So whether it's as authentic as it used to be, I don't focus on that either. I focus on a positive outlook of it as, you know, there's young people making money and not having to sell drugs or rob people or go to jail or risk their life on a day-to-day basis. So that's kind of fortunate.
Would you say that the culture as we know it is no more, or it's just?
I wouldn't say that. I would just say it's different, as it should be. I think they should hold on to respect. And I think what's happened with today's culture is the youth don't respect the elders enough, but the elders don't move out of the way of the youth enough and don't respect them enough either. I think it's a disconnect with understanding that we all hit certain levels at certain times for a certain reason, and we all supposed to bounce and ping pong off each other. I'm 48, so I don't really give a shit about doing what somebody in their 20s is doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? I had my time when I was in my 20s, so I'm not focused on what they do. I just want to help them as best as I can. And that's what I feel the game is just missing for different generations, respecting each other's time and effort.
how do we kind of mesh it back together to bring the flavor from the old school era and, you know, put the new school together?
Being organic. I mean, we do it. The kids still fuck with us. I think it's the way you treat the youth and the way you accept them and the way you embrace them and the way you teach them. If you try to force your way on somebody, like my time period was right, how does that work for the youth? Like they didn't get to come up in that time period. They didn't see it, so they working with what they have. Like the time we came up, there was no Twitter, there was no IG, there was no Facebook, there was no Gmail, there was no sending the song across the world within a few seconds. There was no recording in your house like that. Like, so all of these things make up to make it a different game. So you have to understand that, embrace it, move on with it, and not knock the youth for it, but try to teach them as much as to hold on to their culture and who they are. Because what I see sometimes when people want to go back, but I say, it's not going to go back, you got to go forward. And you just got to go forward with bringing some the great qualities that lasted in those days and implement that in the youth, and therefore you have something positive to work with and you have things you could teach and messages you could leave.
Who coming up do you like the new artists that you think got potential?
I love the real Simba. I love Griselda. I love the younger dudes that's rocking with Griselda. Dave East, of course, my baby bro. J. Cole, Kendrick. There's a lot of pretty dope MCs. I like the new New York movement. I like Lola Brooke. I like Scarlett. So it's a lot.
I'm noticing a lot of female rappers coming up. I like that. You know, like I think they were at a loss for a while. It's good to see them coming back out. I think there's, aside from you guys, not too many groups. I think we could use some more groups. You know?
I think we could use more of everything. I think we just use more organic, authentic people. I think we could use more people who love the culture. You know what I mean? I think we could use more diversity also. It was I'm from an era where you had a little bit of everything. You had an NWA, but you had a Tribe Called Quest. You know what I'm saying? You had a Cypress, you had a Tribe, you had a De La, Public Enemy, you had a Coogee Rap, you had
different flavors.
Different flavors to where you could go. You know, you had KRS, you had education, and you had hardcore shit, and you had MCing. So I think it was just more of a variety of entertainers. I think that's the same variety is there.
You think so?
I think so. I know so, but they don't get. That's not how media works. So a lot of people blame the artists for their artistry, but does the radio play the variety is what you have to ask. Are journalists into all the acts that are not hot and not popping, but doing something different? No, they're not. So there's a lot of dope MCs who do a lot of dope shit, but they don't get the shine. They don't get the light. They don't get the recognition on them. So it seems like there's not, because people gravitate to what people put out, and the program directors, the radio stations, the yada yada yada, go straight to one thing.
Planned?
Yeah, pretty much. I feel. So that makes it difficult.
Like, so the program, they decide what to play, so
exactly.
If your music don't sound like this, it don't get no play.
Exactly.
So everybody making the same music.
Exactly.
Okay. How do we change? We got to fire the program director?
Fire the program director. Well, the program directors just got to be more open. They got to be more open. Like, hip hop that's another thing. Back then, you wasn't looking at a multi-billion-dollar industry. It wasn't a multi-billion-dollar industry before. Even if you think about certain things, like how it was played out, like let's look at the EPMD before EPMD. You was considered whack if you crossed over. Like if you was crossing over, it's like, fuck out of here. That shit ain't hip hop. Now if you're not crossing over, you're not successful. Like, you know what I mean? So we have to look at the scope of where the game is. Like, you know what I mean? And that's the big difference. So that's why I say nothing stays the same. You just have to learn how to adapt and push forward.
But it's crazy because people that don't, you have the Griseldas and all these people that they come out, make great music, make money. So why is everyone still going the other way?
part of today's tradition. As I said, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, MySpace.
The world we live in.
Yeah, Instagram Live. Like that's the world we live in now. You're dealing with more technology. You're dealing with a faster moving world. So you're gonna see that.
Where do you think the game is gonna veer to from here? Like,
I think everything goes in ciphers and circles. I think probably in a few years, the generation that's coming up under this generation are going to be a lot more authentic to who they are. I think you'll hear a change in the music. I think you'll hear a shift. One thing that hasn't changed and one thing that hasn't shifted is, that's why I tell people I don't worry about no matter what's going on. If you still even ask the kids who's the best, most likely they're going to refer back to somebody with lyrics. Like, the game has changed, but like say for instance, Little Baby and Kodak Black, they could rhyme their ass off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always somebody who could actually rhyme.
They can do it, they got the ability.
That has the ability to rhyme and put some words together that's, ringing off. Even though all the other shit is there and they're part of that other shit, they still have that knack and the ability to actually rhyme and say some fucking dope shit that's gonna move you. So with that being said, you gotta take what you take, man.
Tell me about you now. You said something very interesting I was listening to the other day about your gut and your energy and your feeling coming from your gut.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that for me, like, can we
Follow your gut.
follow
I said, yeah, it's gut instincts. You always get a feeling in your stomach, and life should be about following what you believe is right. That's why I'm big on health and eating clean. It sounds funny, but the healthier you are. Your gut is your other brain. You have two
That's
brains. You
what I
have your
heard you say,
brain,
yep.
and you have your gut is your other brain. We've all experienced somewhere before, oh, I should do this. And sometimes you don't follow your gut instinct and you end up in the wrong place. Your gut tells you when you're in a bad vibe, or like, I feel like something bad's about to happen, or your gut tells you, oh, I shouldn't do this. But a lot of us aren't in tune with our guts to understand, listen to it. So I just believe in being clean as possible, and then also following your gut, what your gut is telling you to follow.
What in here promotes healthy?
Everything in here promotes healthy.
Gut.
Everything in here promotes that, but we actually have gut instinct. What you see is glutamine, cranesbill root, ginger root, fennel seed, marshmallow leaf, and peppermint leaf. It aids your digestive system. You know what I'm saying? It gets out the bacteria, helps with acid reflux, helps with digestion. And this is one of if you got IBS, you got Crohn's, this is what you want to come get from us.
Okay. Which one is that?
Gut instinct.
Gut instinct. Give me something for the youth. Give them some game.
For the youth, I would say be yourself. A lot of youth are scared to be themselves nowadays, worrying about what other people think about them. Just think about the people that you're thinking about, if they care about you, if they love you, and they have your best interests. If not, you shouldn't worry about what they're doing. Worry about what you're doing. Follow who you are. Follow your gut. Find your path. Invest your time in things you love doing. If you want to pick a career, know there's ups and downs, trials and tribulations, peaks and valleys. Invest your time in something you love, so when you not winning and you catch a loss, is more of a lesson and something to learn off of. If you believe in a higher power, pray, meditate, and take care of yourself.
You religious?
No, I'm spiritual. I'm not religious at all. I'm spiritual.
Church? No.
Nah, church is everywhere I'm at.
Gotcha.
Church is everywhere I'm at. No, I'm not religious whatsoever, but I respect other people's religion. Whatever your way is to get to the higher power or the source, the creator, I don't knock it. I just personally, I'm spiritual. I stay in the spiritual realm, and it's my job to heal people. And so however you got to get to the creator is your business, and I respect it.
Were you always like that, spiritual?
Yeah, I would say. I started off Christian when I was a youth, and then I studied Islam for a while. I studied Islam under Dr. York. I don't know if you know who Malachi York is, but once he moved on and did other things and moved from Islam, I made my decision then as a young man to just be spiritual and not really have a religion. Just rely on a higher power myself and work with the laws of the universe, which is you do good, you get good, you do bad, you get bad. And I don't like division either, so I'm just spiritual.
Anything you want to tell the people about any music coming out? Another
Watch out for the new locks. Make sure you check out FARMACYforlife.com, FARMACYFORLIFE.com. Check out our Instagram. Make sure you check out Juices for Life. Go check us out on Instagram. Get your own juicer, get your own blender. Take care of yourself. And watch out for the Locks album and my last solo album.
Mr. Styles, appreciate
Love
your
is
time.
love, brother. Love is love, Ken. Thank you.